begin with Ukraine and funding for Ukraine. And first of all, the news is that Viktor Orbán, here meeting with Charles Michel, Emmanuel Macron, Olaf Scholz, and of course Ursula von der Leyen, has decided that Hungary does not want to fund Ukraine, but just to so that we understand, the lead into this was a decision about whether Ukraine would be invited to begin the process of joining the European Union. And Hungary indeed was not particularly interested in that either. So let's just have a look at what Viktor Orbán said. Now this is in Hungarian, but there are subtitles. We'll explain a little more afterwards for those that are just listening.
Lassan 8 órája gyúrjuk itt egymást Brüsszelben a miniszterelnöki csúcstalálkozón. Nagy vitát folytatunk Ukrajna Európai Uniós tagságáról. Magyarország álláspontja világos. Ukrajna nem felkészült arra, hogy megkezdjük vele a tárgyalásokat az uniós tagságról. Teljesen értelmetlen, irracionális és helytelen döntés ilyen körülmények között megkezdeni Ukrajnával a tárgyalásokat, és Magyarország nem is módosítja az álláspontját. Ellenben 26 másik ország ragaszkodott ahhoz, hogy ez a döntés megszülessen. Ezért Magyarország úgy döntött, hogy ha 26-an így döntenek, menjenek a maguk útján. Magyarország ebben a rossz döntésben nem kíván osztozni, és ezért Magyarország a döntéstől a mai napon távol maradt. A tárgyalások folytatódnak a költségvetés módosításával.
So making it very clear that Hungary didn't want to be involved in the decision for Ukraine to become a member of the European Union, but he was prepared to let the rest of the EU countries go ahead and do that if that's what they wanted. So let's have a look at what Charles Michel said about this, President of the European Parliament, of course.
Good evening, everyone. This is a historic moment, and it shows the credibility of the European Union, the strength of the European Union. The decision is made. We open negotiations with Ukraine and with Moldova. We grant status to Georgia and with Bosnia and Herzegovina. We will open negotiations, and a report will be issued in March. And based on that, we'll make a decision in March. This is extremely important. We want to support Ukraine. It's a very powerful political signal. It's a very powerful political decision. And today and tonight, I think to the people of Ukraine, we are on their side, and this decision made by the member states is extremely important for the credibility of the European Union.
How did you manage to make this decision?
We worked a lot to prepare this European Council. It was important that no member state would oppose the decision, and that's why we were in a position to make this announcement tonight. We continue to work because we are still working on the multi-annual framework. This is a difficult debate, and I'm confident that in the hours to come we will manage to make a decision to be united on this topic. We want to support Ukraine with more financial assistance, point one, but we also want to take into account the priorities of the European Union and to adapt our multi-annual framework.
I should have said European Council, of course, not European Parliament. So anyway, putting a very brave face on that, Ben, in an attempt to sort of persuade everybody that there's unanimity there. When it came to the debate, it's over the money itself. We'll come on to that in a second. Let's just put this up first. EU leaders approve Ukraine accession talks, bypassing Orbán, said Alex Soros. So the next thing was Viktor Orbán tweeted this out. Summary of the night shift. So Hungary issued a veto on the extra money to Ukraine and also a veto for the MMF framework, the MMF review. We will come back to the issue next year after proper preparation, is what he is saying. So Hungary decided not to veto Ukraine joining the EU, but to veto the money side of it. And the MMF, by the way, that's on screen at the moment, that refers to the multi-annual financial framework. So that, of course, it's not just an EU situation, because in the United States, it's the same kind of thing. So here's Chuck Schumer. So much hangs on our success, he said. We know the world is watching. This is because the Senate is deciding on whether to issue more money to Ukraine as well. So they want to pass a supplemental aid package worth $50 billion of new security, so-called, to Ukraine as it fights Russia, as they say, plus $14 billion for Israel as well. And because this is not going through, the Senate has decided to not go on holiday today, as they had planned to do, but they're going to, in fact, come back on Monday to try to do a deal on this. So that's money currently stalled in the US Senate as well. But the question is, once this money does get approved, if it gets approved eventually, what is it going to do? Because increasingly we're seeing comments like this. This is from Vista Outdoor, saying that due to world events, our suppliers have notified us of the unprecedented demand and unexpected global shortage of gunpowder. And thus they've increased our prices substantially. Now, of course, it's for the sporting market mainly, but this must apply all the way through the supply chain as well. So perhaps the $50 billion that the US is trying to get isn't going to go quite so far. But let's come to the UK and its response. And let's have a look at or listen to Alicia Cairns, who's the chair of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, what she was saying about this.
Ukraine does need our support. The good news, if you want to find any good news in the situation, is that the EU already has funding in place in its current budget for Ukraine. This is all about grants and loans for 2024 to 27. The UK already has been giving a lot of support to Ukraine. It's obviously just announced a massive maritime investment, and the US is still steadfast at the moment. But this is my big question that I've been asking to my counterparts in DC and around the world. What are you doing now to give Ukraine what it needs to survive and to win now? We keep giving them just enough to survive the next 3 months, the next 6 months. No business would operate on that model. So why do we expect Ukraine, which is defending all of Europe, to work on that same model? Give them enough to win and give them enough to win now.
So it's just business. Let's put this on screen. It's just business. It's not personal. So that's the message to Vladimir Putin. It's pathetic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? And to position Ukraine as essentially the European front line, I think, is really interesting. I mean, this idea that everything is becoming more closely integrated, and actually we're all in this fight together. If you go along with the rhetoric that's being put forward here. In fact, we saw a similar message coming from Poland recently, where Donald Tusk has just been confirmed as the new prime minister, and he wants the West's full mobilization for Ukraine. His return here, according to the Kyiv Post, is seen as crucial for restoring Poland's standing in the EU. They've been in the Viktor Orbán naughty step, I think, for the past few years, and they need to provide a significant voice amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. Zelenskyy himself has been in the US over the past week. He did a big interview with Fox News where he talked about, this was his advice to people questioning funding for Ukraine. Don't travel the world each day. Travel to the front line. Ask soldiers what they need. Don't build roads for today. Spend all your money to weapons, to drones.